Hey everyone, welcome to part 25 of this Dark Urge Tactician mode guide for Baldur's Gate 3. We just defeated Gortash, and now we're going to set our sights on taking down Orin, and we're going to do it in a very special way. As the Dark Urge, we get to one-on-one duel her, and if we can do that properly, we will also get a new trophy for that. So let's go ahead and get started by making some changes to our equipment. We've been spending most of the game dual-wielding hand crossbows, but not anymore. We want to choose something like a longbow or a short bow. I'm going to go with the bow of the Banshee, which is really nice because it allows us to inflict fright on enemies when we hit them. It's not guaranteed, but there's a good shot of that happening. So now we're also going to change our armor to the Cloth of Authority that we got from Gortash's body. That way we have an advantage on intimidation checks and our armor class increases by 1. But something else that we need to do is actually remove our helmet, because our helmet piece, or the headpiece, counts as light armor. So we're going to remove that, and you'll see that my armor class actually goes from 15 to 16 when that happens. So we're actually better off without that. We lose the ability to just go invisible with that, but that's okay. We're not going to need it anymore. So once that's all done, we're going to go ahead and get started by heading out of camp, and we're going to fast travel over to the Grey Harbor docks. This is right outside of the Steelwatch Foundry, and when we get here, we get a little bit of a cutscene with the Elder Brain, just kind of talking to us and being weird. We can skip all of that though and just continue on. We want to go up kind of toward the direction of the Steelwatch Foundry, and we're going to then head over toward the north, and when we do that, we'll just follow these train tracks around, and then you'll get to go down the ramp on your right side, and that will take you down to the ship. Normally you wouldn't be able to go here because of the Steel Watchers, but they've all been disabled. There is an investigation check on the north end of the boat, and if you succeed it, then you can interact with the wooden trunk over here, and it will magically change into a new kind of shimmering box called the cargo shipment. If you open that up, you'll see that inside of it there are 6 different Flayer Parasite specimens. So let's go ahead and grab all of those, and that will give us the ability to not only max out Gale's Illithid powers, but also pour a bunch into the Dark Urge as well. And for a little bit of lore, you can read the note to see that Ketheric Thorm was shipping these over to Gortash. Let's take a moment to actually use those Flayer Parasite specimens. We've got 6 of them total now. We're going to use one of them on Gale to learn the very last skill, Mind Sanctuary. Now he has a completely Illithid brain, allowing us the maximum benefit for Call of the Week. Now what we're going to do is learn some skills with the Dark Urge. Let's start by learning Ability Drain. That way when we hit an enemy, it will reduce their ability scores by 1. We can also learn Luck of the Far Realms so that we can guarantee ourselves a critical hit once per long rest. Illithid Expertise gives us expertise in Persuasion, Deception, and Intimidation checks, which will come in handy later. Let's go down a little bit. You'll see that there's a Charm. That's something that we can grab to be a little bit more defensive and to stop enemies from attacking us. And there's Psionic Dominance, a good way to shut down enemies' spells. Now we get one choice between our last skill. We can either go with Black Hole to kind of group up enemies. That could come in handy, or you could go with something like Call the Weak, just to guarantee that you can kill things even if they don't go all the way down to 0. You should keep in mind though that if you've got that cloak that turns you invisible, it doesn't work if Call the Weak activates. You actually have to get the enemy all the way down to 0 HP with your attack, not Call the Weak, for that to activate and turn you invisible. Well, now that that's all done, we're going to continue on the path to defeat Orin. We're going to go over to the waypoint called Lower City Central Wall, and we'll teleport over there, and then we want to go through Bloomridge Park. So let's start by heading over toward the west to do that. After running through a couple of these archways, then we will be in the park proper. Let's continue along the path toward the west, and eventually what we want to do is turn and head south. You'll know that you're on the right path if you see this red wall with all the plants over top of it. So let's go through the opening in that red leafy wall, and then we want to turn over toward the right side and follow this path around. Eventually you'll go down some stairs, keep following the path around, and you'll see a manhole in front of you that leads you down into the sewers. So let's use that manhole and head down. Now that we're in the sewers, let's start by going over toward the north, and we can turn left at the end of this walkway and head down through this rubble area. There's no reason to fight any of these enemies, so just ignore them. They won't bother you either. Go toward the right, and we're going to go through this large door. Continue along the path toward the west, and you'll go across a little bridge here with some nasty looking water, and we're going to then turn to the right and go up this long staircase toward the north. Continue along the path toward the north. You're going to go past a bunch of rubble and stuff, and then you'll eventually make your way all the way to the end where you're going to get a new waypoint under here. This is the Undercity Ruins waypoint. Let's go over toward the left, and there's a man standing over here that we want to talk to before we do anything else. So let's go ahead and talk to Voiceless Penitent Bareki.
Looks at you silently, expectantly.
Shall we trade then?
There is the slightest flicker of acknowledgement in his eyes.
He has a very interesting piece of equipment, and that is this Bonespike helmet. We don't care so much about the raging aspect of it, but we do get a +2 bonus to intimidation, and we can use menacing attack melee every single turn, which is great because normally that's a battle master maneuver that requires a superiority dice, but we can do it every single attack to frighten enemies, so that's a really good thing. He's also got the armor of moonbasking, not so useful for anything that we have to do, so we can skip that. So we can just close out of here because we're actually going to loot it from his dead body. Let's go over here, and then we're going to get into position. We're going to crouch down, and then we're just going to straight up murder him. So let's go ahead, use our sneak attack, use all of our normal attacks that we would typically do in a fight, and we'll be able to take him out without much effort. You should be able to kill him before he has a chance to do anything. So I'll just kind of let this one play out, and then I'll see you when we're looting his body. Dark Urge managed to do 101 points of damage on just that first turn, so I'd say that's pretty good. I don't want to throw any weapons with Karlach right now, so instead I'll just use a main hand attack, running over here and finishing off the fight. So he's dead, we get 400 experience, and now we get to loot his body to grab that Bonespike helmet. We also get a whole bunch of gold, and if you want to, you can then grab that armor as well. So grab everything that you want to off of him, and then we're good to go. Let's take a moment to go into our inventory, and we're going to actually equip that new helm that we picked up. So we get all the bonuses here, but because it doesn't count as light armor, it's just like a hat for us, then we get all the bonuses without any of the drawbacks. I'm not a big fan of the look of this thing, so I'm just going to toggle that off so that it's just our face that we can see. So from here, what we want to do is to head back down and toward the east. You're going to see that there's a big door over here on the other side of the waypoint. Now, normally what you'd have to do is go and impress the murder tribunal to get through all this stuff. We don't have to do any of that because we have Gale, and Gale has knock. So let's go ahead and just knock on the door, and it's going to open up nicely, allowing us to go through. With Gale, we're going to continue on the path forward. There will be a little bit of an autosave here, which is good because we have kind of a tricky thing coming up. Let's go down and toward the left. This is toward the north, and we're going to get down toward the bottom where you're going to get a perception check over here. So right around the bottom of this walkway, we're going to split Gale from the rest of the party and then kind of sneak forward. You'll probably be seen at that point. That's okay. Walk a few steps more forward, and then you'll crouch down again. Let's go over to this corner, and what we want to do is to, number one, cast invisibility on ourselves. So we'll just use the level 2 version of it to turn ourselves invisible, and once we can no longer be seen, we're going to use the fly command because we're half lithid, and we're going to fly straight ahead and go over toward this ledge. So we're right here, and now we're going to fly once again over toward the side. You'll see this big circle on the ground. We want to go just behind it. And once we're here, we're in a good position to begin a fight. So we're going to use our Lithid power to use a repulsor, and that will push the enemies around us, and that will initiate the fight. Now, if you perceive the enemy, you can actually know where they are ahead of time, but if not, then that repulsor will work beautifully to start the fight, even if you can't see them. So this guy's not going to be able to do a whole lot to us, but we can do a whole lot to him. We can't do anything on the first turn, so we're just going to skip through this, but this enemy is going to try to get to a location where they can find us. So sometimes it will run down into the building where we're standing, and sometimes he'll run along the path toward the side. We have the high ground so we can see everything he's doing. He's got 4 stacks of Unstoppable, which means he won't take any damage and can't be pushed, but just a level 1 magic missile will be enough to take away all of those stacks of Unstoppable, and now he's vulnerable to be hit. He'll try to attack with something like Freezing Ray or maybe Slow, but we can stop all of that in its tracks by using Psionic Dominance to completely shut him down. So he can't attack anymore, and now it's going to be our turn to act. And we have a very powerful attack with a level 6 magic missile that we can call upon. This will launch 9 projectiles his way, each of them doing a good chunk of his health and damage, and you'll see that he will not stand a chance against this, and the fight will be over almost as soon as it began, without having to deal with any of the other enemies in this area that can summon in and really mess you up. Now that the threat of the area has passed, we're going to regroup our party members, and then Gale is just going to fly down toward the bottom of this area, right by the door toward the north. So we can get all the way down to the bottom here, and all of our other party members are going to be running along the path trying to get to us. It does take them a little while because they've got to huff it on foot. Eventually they'll make it down to us, and then we can continue on our path toward the north. So now that all the party members are back together, let's go through this little triangular shaped door, and as soon as we get through that, let's turn toward the right and we'll see another door right here that we can open up. This metal door will take us into the next area. So now, controlling the Dark Urge, we're going to move forward and we're going to go down the path in front of us. When you get down to the bottom of the first staircase, turn to the right and follow the pathway down. And then when you get to the bottom of here, stick toward the right hand side and then go along that path toward the bottom. You're going to eventually get down by this torch and this little wooden plank. You can use the ladder to climb down to the lower level, and then you're going to use another ladder to get to the lower level again. Let's keep running along the path. This time we're going more toward the east, and we're going to get all the way down to the bottom here, and then we're going to turn toward the left side to go over toward the main walkway that will take us to where Orin is waiting for us. So now that we're over here, we are in a hostile area. Be careful as soon as that autosave starts, because there's a lot of traps around here. You need to be careful about where you step, because there's going to be these rectangles on the ground. There's going to be traps there, so let's go ahead and just disarm this one. It's a marble plate. Normally you would probably be able to see the other one on the other side, but I didn't see that one, so I can't disarm it. Instead, I'll just kind of go around toward the left hand side. We don't have to worry too much about setting off traps if we can disarm them all. So let's go ahead and just turn them all off. They do have a skill check of 10. Each one of them has a skill check of 10, so we can do those pretty easily thanks to our sleight of hand and our dexterity. Unfortunately, I got a critical failure on that one. Nothing I can really do about that except to just roll it again, and then I can easily pass it the next time around. Let's continue along the path, sticking over toward the right hand side, just disarming everything as we go, and eventually what's going to happen is you're going to get to the other side of it, and our little butler friend is going to be waiting for us at the top of the stairs. So we can go over there and then we can talk to him, and then we're going to initiate a little bit of a cutscene. So let's head all the way up here and then have a chat with him.
Master! You have come home to your royal dwelling. Don't lift a pinky. I have been waiting to open the door for you. Lady Orin told me to allow your passage, but if she hadn't, I would have been naughty and slipped you inside anyway.
Open it.
1,000 succubi could give me no greater delight. There's a puddle of blood on the floor as you walk in. Careful, don't slip.
We get an inspiration point for a Karlach called Outlander, the Face of Evil. That gets us 275 experience points. We also get the Dark Urge's Haunted One Homecoming inspiration point, giving us 275 experience. We now completed the Impress the Murder Tribunal without ever meeting the Murder Tribunal, and we can go straight inside here toward the east. When we get into the Bhaal temple, we'll head over toward the right hand side, and we're going to go down the stairs over by where Orin is. But don't go all the way down just yet. We need to prepare ourselves for this battle because, like I said before, it's a one-on-one battle. Right about the time that you get the journal update and you can get to the spot with the broken away ground, then stop for a second, make sure that Uncanny Dodge is activated. That way, if an attack hits you, you'll take less damage. That's very handy in case you get a very bad initiative roll at the start. So once that's all done, then we're going to split the Dark Urge away from the rest of the team and control Gale. Before we do anything with him, we're going to put the game into turn-based mode. That way the buffs we give the Dark Urge won't wear off during the cutscene. Let's give him the haste ability so that he gets 2 normal actions every turn. Paired together with our extra attack, that means that we really get 4 attacks every turn, which makes things go very smoothly for us. Well, now that we're all ready, let's head down toward the bottom part and get a cutscene.
Look, your savior approaches. See how it crawls towards us? Not a dream now. No. It is blood and bone. Carrying the tyrant's rock. But you did not listen. Thought my instructions could be ignored. I told you what to do, whelpworm, and you disobeyed. Disobedience must be punished.
Intimidation. Harm her, and I will unleash the agonies of Bhaal upon you. The Bonespike helmet and cloth of authority that we're wearing give us an advantage here. We get a total bonus of 10 trying to roll a 25. It's very difficult but very important because if we fail this, Laezel will actually die and we need her for later. So it's a good idea to save the game too, just in case you need to reload this because you have to succeed on this before you keep going.
Yes, give me agony. Pluck me bone from socket. Stroke me with a jagged edge until my skin shreds wet and red. You still don't remember, do you, bloodkin?
How you screamed as my knife slit your skull. Your brain juices. Sticky and sweet. A little hole, big enough for the worm. Your body, a blood sack to feed it. The favorite of Bhaal turned meat puppet, strung up by the sinews and plucked by my hands.
This is the truth you had forgotten. You were the favorite, the chosen. Orin was your subordinate. You led the cultists of Bhaal and orchestrated the absolute plot. It was your genius, your cruelty, your design. At your moment of greatest triumph, when all the pieces were in place, she betrayed you, infected you, and took your place.
Husk, maggot, a Bhaal spawn, sliding in filth with these pigs. You don't deserve the Murder Lord's blessing.
Let's pause for just a second because as soon as we make our choice here, then the game will determine what turn order we go in, and we definitely want to get the better initiative roll. So I would highly recommend making a quick save here just in case something goes wrong with that and we get brutalized by Orin. We can then reload it and maybe get a better initiative roll. So when you're done, let's choose Usurper. When I reclaim my rightful place, you'll see the power I hold.
Above my altar, carcass fluids flooding into the gutter. Come close, my death's heads, but keep your blades unblooded. Bhaal demands a duel. He wants to taste my domination, an altar flowing with his own unwilling flesh, draining, dying. Drip, drip, drip.
You should have trained harder, Master.
Alright, here we go. We have a one-on-one duel. Everyone else is going to run away, and then we're going to be stuck inside of this circular arena. Now, you might think, how are we going to defeat Orin in her Slayer form? This is a really difficult fight. And normally you'd be right, except for we have a very easy way to beat her, where we can do it without ever getting hit. And it's all because of our build. So now what we want to do is cast Darkness inside the arena. You don't want it to be on Orin herself, you just kind of want it to be over toward the side here. So let's cast it right there. And now what we're going to do is to go forward a little bit. We can't shoot through the darkness or out of the darkness or into the darkness, but we can shoot from the side of the darkness. So let's hit her with a ranged attack. If you don't have a very good chance of hitting, you can always toggle off that sharpshooter perk to give yourself a better chance to hit. We'll do less damage, but less damage is better than no damage from a miss. So let's go ahead and hit her. We can either choose to hit with a critical hit or not. I'm just going to do that just because I can, and we're going to then be able to follow that up with our extra attack. So you can see that now she's afflicted with ability drain dexterity. She's also got frightened here, and we're going to then finish our turn by running into the darkness where we're blinded, but then we're going to use cunning action hide in order to hide within the darkness, and you'll see that she can see the entire arena around us but can't see inside the darkness, which is very handy for us because if she can't see us, she won't do anything. She will literally stand there for the entire duel and not make a move. Now let's go back outside of the darkness right where we were. It's okay if we're seen because we're just going to attack her normally. The reason that we switched away from those hand crossbows is we did not want to automatically use our bonus action with an attack because we need to keep that bonus action for hiding in the shadow every single turn before we're done. So we're going to hit her with a normal attack, then an extra attack, and then we get to do it once again. So let's hit her with a normal range attack and then follow that up with another ranged attack as our extra action. Once all 4 of your attacks have been completed, go back into the darkness and you're going to use your cunning action hide just to finish your turn while hiding in the darkness. That's all there is to this fight. Just repeat that over and over again. You've got 10 turns of haste as well as 10 turns of darkness, and you should be able to finish her off within that amount of time. It might be a long process of just kind of doing it over and over and over again. It's not the most exciting battle, but it's by far the safest way you can do this, guaranteeing that you can get through it without taking any damage. So I'm just going to kind of speed it up here because that would be very long and boring to see the whole thing just play out in real time, but it's going to be done in just a moment. Let's go ahead and whittle her health all the way down, and then eventually we'll get within range for Call the Weak to activate, and then the battle will be over. So enjoy the rest of this very sped up fight, and I'll see you in just a moment. Alright, she's almost down. Let's go ahead and hit her again, and that will end the fight and give us a cutscene.
Master, you are the chosen one. He is near. He comes for you.
gift from your god, your father, an offering of his affection for you, or confirmation that he owns you?
Up until now, we've done a good job of resisting the urge, but it's time to give in to it by saying, I accept your gift, Lord Bhaal.
My chosen, my slayer, violence incarnate, you will become a testament in blood. Go, child of Bhaal, claim the crown of Caucasus, control the absolute, and command the horde fit to butcher this world in my name.
And with that, we get the Embrace Your Urge trophy.
Another part of your glimmering birthright for you to abuse as you please.
So, we have the final stone. I need to see it for myself. There it is. So innocent, but such potential. You have done very well indeed.
The Netherstones pulse with psionic energy, permeating you, pulling you in line with their rhythm. The thrum quickens, rising, cresting on a single feeling. A location.
A morphic pool beneath the city itself. So that's where the Chosen imprisoned the brain.
So how do we get to the Morphic Pool?
The same way one gets to the bounds of anything. The sewers. When we reach the pool, we will find the brain, and we will end this. In death, thraldom, or freedom. But a word of caution. Once we cross into the Elder Brain's domain, there will be no turning back. Finish your business here before you proceed. The brain will be waiting for us.
We get an inspiration point for the Dark Urge called Haunted One Return of the Bhaal Spawn. That gives us 275 experience points. And we also completed the quest, The Urge, by giving into the Urge. That's how we got our trophy a moment ago. We received Orin's Netherstone, giving us all 3 Netherstones put together so we can go toward the end of the game. That updates our journal, and it also gives us a Bhaal as an ally at the end of the game. That's pretty cool. Let's go over and interact with Orin's gore pile right where she died, and we can grab a new piece of armor or 2, a new ring, as well as a new legendary weapon, which is pretty good. This is called Crimson Mischief. We already have another weapon that we got automatically when we got her Netherstone. That's actually where we got the Netherstone from. It was inside of her dagger. So make sure that you grab this legendary weapon, the Crimson Mischief, and you can grab the other stuff along the way as well. Now that we've looted everything of interest off of her, we're going to go into our inventory and we're going to change up our weapons a little bit that we're holding with the Dark Urge. In my main hand on the right side of the screen, I'm wielding the Bloodthirst. Not only does it lower the number that I need to get a critical hit down by 1, which effect can stack with some other things, but I also get Exploit Weakness. Creatures hit with this weapon receive vulnerability to piercing damage, or in other words, they take double damage from piercing. And also in my offhand, then I have Crimson Mischief that we just picked up. This weapon deals an additional 1 to 4 piercing damage against targets with 50% or less of their health. Now that that's done, let's go over and use the altar key that we got from Orin to unlock the altar where Laezel is, and then we can talk to her.
To think I was taken captive by that disgusting creature. An error I'm glad you swiftly rectified. To camp. I will not let my guard slip again. I swear by Mother Gith's scion.
Well, Laezel is going to walk off and make her way back to camp, but we need to get out of here. We're still in a hostile zone, however, so we can't really do anything fast travel wise. We can't go back to camp ourselves. We're going to have to go and fight our way out of here. Luckily, all of the guys around here are going to be friendly toward us, so we basically just get to walk out of here until we exit Bhaal's temple. Then things get a little bit crazy because one of our allies is going to turn into one of our enemies. So let's go through this big door toward the west, and we're going to get interrupted by a cutscene with the Elder Brain. There's no dialogue options or anything important here, so we're just going to skip through this quick, and then we'll continue along the path until we get a cutscene with Jaheira in front of us.
Drop that stone! You will want your hands free for what comes next.
Jaheira, what are you doing?
Congratulating you, of course. You have won Bhaal's bloody blessing. Now you think you will step out into the world and carve your name upon it. I know better. I stood here a century ago and watched this same ceremony unfold. I stand here again to show you how it ends. With your bones rotting beneath your father's hall. Your name remembered by none.
No, please.
What about you? Huh? Will you protect the world from what he has become?
I tried to save you. When Bhaal came for you before, I stood by you. And I stand beside you now. I know you. You're more than this. More than Bhaal. You're my friend, and I won't leave you.
Goodbye, Bhaalspawn. Harpers, to arms! Let's defend this city as we always have.
Here we have a big fight against Jaheira, as well as a bunch of harpers and other animals and stuff. Now, what you'll notice is that because we haven't used Jaheira at all in battle, she's actually going to still be level 1, which is very convenient for us. She's got very low health and can't really do a whole lot, so it was a good thing that we didn't really use her up until this point. The enemy will sometimes use their wild shapes to give themselves some buffs. It's a little bit annoying because you've got to deplete all of their health and then also beat them again when they revert back to their normal form. So the enemies that do that, they'll take a while to kill. But Jaheira only takes one attack, which will also give us the Haunted One Forced Retirement inspiration point with 95 experience. You would also get that if she died earlier in the game too, like when you were fighting Ketheric on top of Moonrise Towers. You can get it at any point as long as she dies at some point. The enemies around here are of various levels, level 3, level 7, level 9, even all the way up to level 12. So this is a fight of various degrees of difficulty. It's probably a good idea to focus on some of the enemies who have lower health or lower levels, just to clear them out, and then you can basically fight the stronger ones with some advantages. Because we are now Bhaal's chosen, we also have all of the different servants of Bhaal with the green portraits at the top of being on our side. So they will actually run out there and start to fight the enemy for us, which is good. It gives our enemies something else to focus on besides our team. The main point of this fight is pretty much just to keep your distance for the most part. We're very good at attacking from a long ways off. With Karlach, we can throw very far. The Dark Urge has a good bow and may be able to sneak attack sometimes. And then as far as Will and Gale are concerned, they're very good at fighting from a distance too. We can use a lot of Eldritch Blast with Will to push enemies away, and also have Gale put out a wall of fire, so anything trying to run toward us will take a lot of damage. So I'm just going to kind of let this fight play out. It is not horribly difficult. It just takes a little while to get through it all, just due to the sheer number of enemies around here. But we are more than prepared to take on this fight, and probably shouldn't really have to worry about losing too much health either. The only real thing that you might find to be tricky is dealing with those tougher enemies, the ones that are around level 12. They can do some serious damage to you, and they just are very tanky, especially in their wild shape form. So I'm just going to let this one play out, and then I'll see you in a couple minutes when it's all over.
Aye, aye.
No holding back. Making my move. Fancy their chances. On my way.
Tactical. This'll help.
swift as my feet can carry me.
Go on.
Alright, I think that's about it for this fight. Let's go ahead and just use a magic missile to guarantee that we can kill Captain Leafsong, and that fight will be over. We got lots of experience for doing all of that, so now we can continue on our merry way. The only real person who got seriously injured there was Will, but we can just use a short rest to get all of that back, and we're good to continue on toward the west. So we can go all the way down here, looting Jaheira's body on the way. You can grab anything that she was holding, including her 2 weapons. Now we're just going to continue on forward. Be careful about the green splotches on the ground if there's any. If they catch you with their twisted vines, it'll just hold you up for a few seconds. Well, once you get all the way down by the waypoint, you can actually start to fast travel. We want to go to Lower City's central wall and then continue on from here. We're going to go all the way toward the far side of this plaza, and that's where Sorcerous Sundries is. Luckily for us, we don't have to do the side quest between Leroican and Dame Aelin. We can just head on in here and we can talk to either Roland if he's alive, or Leroican's projection if Roland died earlier, like what happened to me.
Welcome, dear patron, to Sorcerous Sundries. It has come to my attention that there is a bitter adventurer located outside the shop. Not to worry. We will quickly handle this disturbance for your comfort and safety. I am an unperson in service of the revered wizard Leroican, proprietor of this fine establishment. To browse our wares, say trade. To provide information about the Night Song, say Night Song. If you are a city official here to collect dues, say taxes. For all other inquiries, say other.
Trade.
You're sure to find what you're looking for.
There's a really good collection of scrolls here that you can purchase to teach Gale new spells, but we want to find the Scroll of Tasha's Hideous Laughter. This is very important coming up for a very difficult fight, and we can make it a whole lot easier with this very simple level 1 spell. He's also got the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation. This is something that we could put onto the Dark Urge. It will give us a +2 to our armor class and allow us to automatically counterattack with an unarmed strike whenever an attacker misses us. I don't think that this honestly triggered successfully at any point through the rest of the playthrough, so this is kind of an optional thing. It is pretty expensive at over 3,500 gold, so feel free to skip this if you want to. You don't really need to purchase that if you don't really want to. You can just keep whatever equipment you're currently rocking and it will work just fine. But I am going to go back to camp and I'm going to change things up a little bit. We're going to head down toward the bottom section here, and then we're going to go over and find where Laezel is, because we want to add her to the party for the next thing that we're going to do. So let's go ahead and add her to the team. I took Will off, and now Laezel is eligible to level up because we haven't used her for a little while. So let's go ahead and do that. The path that we're going to take is pretty straightforward, just staying right in that fighter lane, and we're going to now be a fighter level 10. We get the improved combat superiority as well as 2 passives. Let's go ahead and select those 2 passives now. You can really choose whatever you want to. There's a list of some good stuff, but I'm going to go with Menacing Strike, as well as pushing attack. Those things, especially pushing attack, is very useful for a little bit later on. So grab that one, and then really whatever else you want to from the list. And now as a fighter level 11, we get improved extra attack, meaning that we can attack 3 times in a row when we're fighting, so that's really handy for us, and we're going to be good to go from here. Now what we want to do is to head on out of here, and we're going to do a little bit of fast traveling to our next location. We want to go to South Span of Worms Crossing. This does take us into a new region, so let's just choose yes on this, and then we'll teleport ourselves over there. We're on our way to speak to Raphael and Voss, and they are inside this building just ahead of us on the right side. So let's open up the doors and head on inside. This is Sorcerous' Caress. Follow the red carpet to the end and then turn left, go up the stairs, and then over toward the left again. Keep running all the way to the end of the hallway, then turn right. Go all the way to the end of this hallway and turn left and go up the stairs. This will take you to the upper area where you can open up the door in front of you and be outside on this balcony. Turn toward the right and run past the first door and go over toward the second door. We can open that up. There's a quest marker inside of it, and when we open up the door, we can go in and see Voss speaking to Raphael. And all we have to do now is to go inside and have quite a lengthy conversation with these guys. Voss is going to leave and excuse himself going down to a lower level, but Raphael is going to talk to us for a long time. I'll skip most of the conversation. Suffice it to say, we're going to agree with his plan. We will get the Orphic Hammer, and then we'll be able to go downstairs and talk to Voss again. For the sake of time, I cut out about 10 minutes of dialogue of Raphael just explaining what his plan was and how he wanted the Crown of Karsus to become the Archdevil Supreme, and then that will lead us right to this little bit of dialogue where he gives us a choice.
And when that moment comes, you give the crown to me. In exchange, I give you the hammer now.
A simple transaction, it seems, but it's more than that. He's offering you an alternative to the mind flayer in your head. Take Raphael's deal and you could free Orpheus. With Orpheus free, you would have no need to rely on the Emperor. But there's no guarantee that Orpheus would be on your side. And if you take the deal, you'll have to fulfill it. You'll have to deliver the crown of Karsus to the devil himself. He claims his ambition is to unite the Hells, but can he be trusted to stop there? Do you trust him more than you trust the Emperor?
Skvar! We should do as the devil asks. The Prince of the Comet must rise again.
Here's a quick breakdown of your options. If you reject the deal, you can pretty much just go straight toward the end of the game. You'll have to side with the Emperor, and you'll probably be losing Laezel as a party member. So that's not so great. Instead, I'm going to choose to accept the deal, but this will force me to go over toward the House of Hope so that I can complete that, and also I'll have to fight Raphael, which is kind of difficult, but don't worry, I'll show you a good strategy for that. So I will agree to the plan, siding with Orpheus and keeping Laezel. I'm going to say, I agree to the deal. Where do I sign?
What? You can't be serious.
Right here. You'll find everything is in order. The moment I have your signature, you will have the means to free Orpheus. The hammer. You guarantee the crown will be mine once the brain is defeated, and I swear that I will never use the crown to dominate a mortal.
All right, last chance to make up your mind. I'm going to choose to sign the contract.
Perfect. One more rhyme, for old time's sake. The master was slain within his own house. They dined on him both, the cat and the mouse. The hammer is yours. You will find yourself in Orpheus's presence before the end comes. When you do, shatter the chains that hold him. Be sure to keep the hammer safe until then. Your survival depends on it. and I'll keep your contract safe in my House of Hope. I'll be seeing you, and when I do, we dine.
Wherever this House of Hope is, we need to go there immediately and destroy that contract. We must speak with Helsik. She's the only one who can show us the way.
So after all of that and accepting the deal, we get the Orphic Hammer. All of our party members want to talk to us, but you don't really have to say anything to them if you don't want to. It's not critical. Let's go outside of this room, turn toward the left, and run a little ways away, and you'll get interrupted by the Emperor talking to you. We can skip through all of this. It really doesn't matter what you choose, whether you're honest or deceptive. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever. So choose whatever options you want to, and then let's keep going. Now we just have to backtrack downstairs and we can find Voss waiting for us. So go to the end of the walkway, turn left, and then continue down the stairs in front of you. Turn toward the right all the way around, 180 degrees, and then run down the path until the end. Turn left and you'll find Voss over against the window. So let's talk to him.
Tell me you took the devil's deal. Tell me you will free Gith's heir.
Show him the hammer.
So you lied to me. In spite of all our progress together, still you would abuse my trust.
The Prince of the Comet is not dead. The Prince of the Comet will come again. The Prince of the Comet will liberate us from the Lich Queen's tyranny. Can it be? Will the mighty Prince Orpheus soon illuminate the astral plane? Among the Githyanki, one gift is esteemed above all others. The Silver Sword. Take it. Wield it in honor of Gith, the great liberator, and her unforgotten son. Istik, now that you have the hammer, you must find a way to enter the astral prism. Once inside, smash Orpheus's bonds. His cry will shake the plains, and I will fly to your aid. The Prince of the Comet will sear the heavens again. Let the Lich Queen tremble.
Think again. I will not permit your entry.
Ignore the Emperor.
Questions, Istik? You seem to be lost in thought.
No real reason to talk to him anymore unless you want to, so you can just choose to leave. Our reward is that we get that Silver Sword, which is very powerful. The Silver Sword of the Astral Plane gives a bonus to any Githyanki who wield it, dealing an additional 1 to 6 psychic damage, and also we get an advantage on Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma saving throws, and resistance to psychic damage, and we can't be charmed. All of that's really good, so why don't we go ahead and just quickly throw that onto Laezel. She should also be the one holding the Orphic Hammer, so make sure that you shift that over to her as well, and then we're going to keep on going. Laezel wants to talk to us about the Silver Sword that she has now, so go ahead and chat with her, then we're going to fast travel out of here. We want to fast travel over to the Lower City Central Wall waypoint. It's in a different region, so it might take a little bit to load, but once you're there, then we're going to continue toward the north end of this area, and that will take us right over by the House of Hope. So let's climb all the way up these stairs to the top of this area, and then when you get to the top, go a little bit toward the right, and then there's going to be a gate on your left. Let's go through there, and then we can go up the steps and through these double doors. We're going to proceed straight forward, and we're going to go talk to the lady behind the counter here. We get special dialogue because we're Dark Urge.
I welcome thee to the Devil's Fee, where every hellish curio is a... Oh, it's you. Your little scroot of a friend left this on my floor the last time you visited. I presume you have returned to re-engage my services?
Definitely. I await your servicing.
I am afraid that I cannot take you back to Mephistopheles' vaults. That place is now locked tighter than Lord Mammon's coin purse. I have, however, recently found a delightful new place I could sneak you into. Tell me, what do you know of the devil Raphael?
Bring him the crown of Karsus, or he shall sup on my soul, etc., etc.
Ah, so you and Raphael have chatted recently. How unusual. His House of Hope is furnished with a great deal of treasures, many related to Karsus. But alas, he lacks the crown itself. I do enjoy a good tangent. I have found a way to slip the latch to his house, if you wish to leap into Avernus one more time. The crown seemed to interest you, after all.
Raphael must have all kinds of secrets in his house, and I want to undress them.
Of course, such a task will require quite the substantial donation to Lord Mammon's coffers.
Such a task would be tantamount to suicide. Do not even entertain it.
Rogue Persuasion. I'm a skilled thief. Give me free passage. I'll bring you back a souvenir. This will give us a skill check looking for a 20. Now, luckily, we have some good bonuses on our side, making this a little bit easier for us to succeed.
You put me in a difficult position, mortal. You are almost certain to fail. Almost. And so, there is a chance you might succeed. Fine. I'd like to be able to carry all of my precious stock without the need of a team of oxen. There are gauntlets of hill giant strength within the House of Hope. Free passage, and you fetch them for me. Deal?
Deal. Let's do this.
Allow me to outline how this is going to work. First, you were never here. We never spoke. Second, you will perform the rites yourself. I want absolute deniability. Here's the grimoire and necessary components. Oh, take this key, too. It unlocks the ritual room upstairs. There's a blood circle already drawn. Don't ask whose blood.
Along with the grimoire and components, Helsik hands you a note containing precise instructions for performing the ritual.
Finally, you were never here. That is of utmost import to remember. Now be gone!
We get the gibbous of the worshipful servant. That's the hat that our little butler guy usually wears. And we also got 4 items inside of a ritual pouch, which will allow us to perform the ritual, getting us into the House of Hope. Let's run up the stairs all the way to the top. That will get us into Helsik's room. We do have Helsik's key, so we can just open up the double doors at the top and proceed inside. The Emperor is going to try to talk you out of this, but we can just ignore them for right now. We're going to go over into this red circle on the ground, the ritual circle. Now, we have items from that ritual pouch that we definitely need, and we're going to be placing them in very specific spots on this bloody circle. We'll begin the ritual by opening up our inventory, and we're going to choose a specific item. We need to grab the skull that we got from that ritual pouch, and we're going to choose to place it in the world. Let's set it in the circle by the arrow pointing toward the desk, which is over on the west side of the room. You'll know it's in the right spot when it glows. And then what we want to do is to move clockwise up 1 spot. This time when we go into our inventory, we want to find the coin of Mammon. It looks like a silver circle and should be toward the bottom of your inventory list. So grab the coin of Mammon. We're going to place it in the world right in the circle over here that points over toward the northwest. Now we're going to skip over one of the spots here on the ground, and we're going to go over toward the spot on the right. We'll go into our inventory, let's scroll down, and we're going to find the diamond that we have. Let's place it in the world and just set it in the circle that points toward the northeast. We can confirm that it's glowing, so now we're going to move down 1 more section clockwise, and then we're going to go into our inventory, and we'll find the incense. It looks like a couple sticks that are just kind of jutting out toward the top right corner. We're going to place that in the circle here, and we'll notice that it's glowing, so that's all good. Now we only have 1 more thing that we have to do, and that is to put one in the middle of the circle. So let's open up our inventory, go down, and we're going to find a very important item, the Infernal Marble. Let's place that right in the center of the circle. That completes the ritual, and now we're able to go into the House of Hope. But before we do that, I'm actually going to end the episode right here. In the next one, we will complete the House of Hope and do everything that we need to do to set ourselves up for the end of the game. And then in the following episode, that's when we actually beat the game, get all remaining trophies, and the coveted platinum trophy. So we're very close to the end. Stick with me, and we'll do this in no time. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a like and also comment down below and subscribe so that you can stay up to date with the remainder of this series. I'll see you very soon for part 26. Until then, thanks for watching and have a good day.